welcome back to another video. This series of videos I'm actually starting to work on the F100. I'd already made up the chassis frame, which I'll show in a picture somewhere around here, and I'd already started dismantling the front end of the F100. As per usual, forgot to start taking a video of it right from the start, but all I've done is taken the indicators off, headlight surrounds and side indicators on both sides, got them here, and started bagging up parts so I know where they've come from, and so when I go to start putting them together or putting the front end back together, I can either use those fasteners, bolts, screws, whatever, or go buy new ones, and I've got the original ones for reference. So I'll start getting stuck into dismantling the front end a bit more. Here we have a frame that I've built just to go from the firewall to the end of the chassis there. I've got marked measurement points on the frame as well as the chassis, so I know the center point of the cross member. Here's the new cross member. I've disassembled it. I'm going to be making a couple of little changes to it. Alrighty, I'm waiting on a couple of things. So basically I have a day to either sit and waste or do something a little bit productive. Today I'm going to be doing a bit of work on my cross member. Now this work isn't needed. As a disclaimer, this is no criticism towards the fabricator of this cross member. He's done a really good job, welds are really good. It's all been engineer certified, so I've got all the paperwork with it. All I'm doing is just adding a couple of pieces here and there to sort of have it look the way I want it to look. So it's kind of adding a little bit of structural strength, but it's more for looks than anything else. Basically what I'm doing, I've already got a piece mocked up here, adding a gusset in there. This bracket is where the steering rack bolts on. That's what it will look like before. I'll weld this piece on, and that's what it's going to look like afterwards. This piece here is the rear of the lower control arm. All I'm doing is going to put in a gusset there to add a bit of strength. And this bracket here is where the coilover bolts to. What I'll be doing here is just welding a piece up to the top there, and in there just to basically box this in to A, give it a bit more strength, and B, just to make it have it looking a little bit better. So the first part I'll be doing is welding in that. I'll just give you a little quick rundown of the welder and equipment that I'll be using. This is a Lincoln Powercraft 200M. It's a multi-function, so it will MIG, TIG, AC and DC, and it will also arc weld. All I've got it set up for at the moment is MIG welding. I picked this up when I was still in Victoria. Total Tools were having a sale, so I managed to pick this up fairly cheap, and I picked up a spool gun which is down here somewhere. That's for welding using the small reels of aluminium and stainless steel, so I can actually weld aluminium and stainless steel with this as well. It's a very versatile machine, well priced, and it works on a 10 amp power point, so you can use it pretty much anywhere. The welds are, I am no welder by any stretch of the imagination, but the welds that come out of it are pretty good. All you basically have to do is set up your amperage and your wire feed, and it will actually tell you what you're welding, what thickness you're welding here. Also in the book and behind this cover here is also a reference chart for your settings for whatever thickness you're welding. The helmet I've got is a Unimig helmet. It is the large visor auto darkening helmet. Absolutely fantastic. It's a great helmet. I'm not advertising for them, but I have two different helmets. I've got this one and a smaller visor CIG welding mask. The CIG is just as good, but the disadvantage to that one is there's only a small viewport through the CIG one, but through this one it's a larger viewing area, so I can actually get I can actually see what's going on a bit better than what I could with the other one. And I did happen to buy some new gloves the other day. They were on sale. A pair of Michigan. These are actually TIG gloves, but they work really well for MIG welding as well. They're not as thick as normal welding gloves. The welding gloves I find are just really thick and bulky, and yes, they protect you from the heat, but you lose a lot of feel in them. With these ones you've got a padded palm. The leather on the fingers is nice and soft, so you can actually you don't have to take them on and off all the time while you're welding. So that is a little quick rundown on my setup. These are the recommended settings on the welder. I do have to refine them a little bit, but the weld has turned out pretty good. So I'll crack on and do the other side, do this piece, and still got to cut out the material for the gussets there, but that'll happen later on. But anyway, I'll crack on.